good news for buyers, but not good news if you're a potential tenant, because according to RICS, rents are spiralling as landlords head for the exit. According to the Times newspaper, UK property market is heading into a summary of two different stories: a subdued sales market that's stabilising and a rental sector in crisis, with fewer buyers, flat prices and landlords leaving in droves. So where does this leave investors like ourselves, and where does it leave our tenants? Okay, let's talk about the sales market for a moment. It's flat but stable. There's been fewer buyer inquiries. May marked the 5th consecutive month of declining interest from new buyers, according to RICS. Sales are falling. A net 28% of estate agents reported fewer agreed sales in May compared to April. Stamp duty front loading. Much of Q1 activity was driven by buyers rushing to beat April's stamp duty hike, causing a slump consequently in Q2, as you'd expect. Market sentiment, though activity is down, agents are optimistic, and net 25% expect sales to rise in the next 12 months. Price trends, nationwide, prices are largely flat, with some regional declines, like the southwest, parts of the southeast. Northern Ireland continues to see price increases, but as we've covered before, trying to get a mortgage in Northern Ireland is nigh on impossible unless you live there. So from an investment perspective, it's very difficult. Supply is rising. This marks the 11th month in a row of increased new listings, suggesting a decent pipeline for the summer. The outlook, RICS says conditions remain muted and a further deterioration appears unlikely. Let's look at the rental market then. RICS say supply crisis, rents rising. Landlord exodus continues. A net 34% of letting agents reported falling landlord instructions in May, continued a sustained supply decline. Tenant demand has bounced back, a net 22% increase in demand, the highest since September 2024. Basically what that means is rent rises ahead. 43% expect rents to rise in the next 3 months, the strongest outlook since October 2023, and that is estate agents saying that.
Sorry to interrupt, but if you're enjoying this piece of content and would like to find out more about buying property and our key 10 steps to doing so, then pop your details in the link below somewhere and grab a copy of our book, 10 Steps to 10K, the Expat Property Playbook. Enjoy.
Why are landlords leaving? Well, as we've discussed many times, increased tax burdens for UK residents, tighter regulations, upcoming renters' rights bill is scaring a lot of people, and it's heightening risk perceptions around repossession and void periods. Is that a reality? Not if you are a proper landlord, as we've stated many times before. Impact on tenants, reports of panic and desperation among renters due to supply shortages. Concerns raised that without action, more tenants could be forced into temporary accommodation as public housing remains limited. So basically we have a two-speed market. The sales market is cooling but not collapsing, stabilising into the summer with cautious optimism. The rental market, in contrast, is under acute pressure again. We hear all sorts of stuff. Rental market's getting better, rents are not going up by so much. But then you see what's actually happening underneath and within the market, and it is going up because of that. So we've got falling supply and rising demand, and intensifying upward pressure on rents, which from an investment perspective, for us, if we're buying property, it means less void periods, it means quicker to rent out, a far better approach. For tenants, it's unfortunate, they're going to struggle to find property. So the overview is, while the sales market settles into a holding pattern, the rental sector is facing a growing crisis. For property investors, it could be a rare opportunity to acquire in a quieter market where there's more choice. But think about what may happen with the Renters Reform Bill. Make sure you've got all your ducks in a row on that. For tenants, the outlook is tougher. Higher rents, fewer choices and growing competition. All eyes are now on how policy shifts will shape the market heading into 2026. So that's it for this week. I've got a few questions that came up. Jed5210 has the pleasure of saying, in rural areas of northern France, especially Brittany, house prices are exceptional. And they are. Parts of France, you can get some great deals. With France, though, it's not a case of you can look on the internet, oh, I'll go and buy it. You need to go there and you need to investigate the property, look around at it, look at what's all around it. French are lovely people, I'm sure. I don't know that many. I have quite a few clients, but not that many people I know personally. But it's a case of you have to be careful where you're buying and make sure you're buying the right sort of thing. So yes, go look at it, spend time doing it. Take a month off to do that. And as expats, that's very difficult to do that. Okay, Scarayeveli Yoga said, I just found that one of my flats is currently a D, and if I change 3 bulbs, it'll be a C. Unbelievable. Well, that's today, but the whole point is that the EPC certification situation is an ongoing, movable feast. As I think I mentioned in the market up in the past, I phoned the South Wales EPC man, I think 3 in South Wales, so he's quite stretched, and asked him about some property, about getting upgraded, what I needed to do. and he couldn't tell me because it's not clear what needs to be done. Enjoy the moment, Scaravelli yoga, for sure. It is a weird carry on. Okay, Powder Milk 69. How many interest rate cuts do we think we're going to see this year? Mortgage expires in January. In the process of buying a house, I wonder, should I lock in for 2 years at 4%, or is it better to port my existing mortgage, pay 5.2% until January, and potentially lock in it under? If you're brave, I would wait until January, as you are at 5.12%, and then I think by then we should have had 2 interest rate cuts. That's what even the naysayers are all saying, we should have that this year. Nothing perhaps in the next meeting, but after that, potentially 2. But at the end, who knows? If you look at what's going on in the Middle East, that's getting out of control. You know, that could, the Straits of Hormuz, if you can't get oil through there, inflation will go through the roof, and the banks could get very scared very quickly. So I think 2 more cuts, and I would stick where you are and get something renegotiated in January. That's it. Thank you very much. Enjoy yourself. Don't forget, if you get a chance, download our glorious book. Everyone who has read it said it has motivated them to make buying decisions. So that's a good thing. Or perhaps it's motivated them to do nothing, but you just don't tell us that. Could be that as well. Thank you very much. Cheerio.